Alrighty then. We should be live. Just gotta wait for YouTube to catch up to me so I can know for sure. All right. Looks like all is well. All right. So, what just happened? Oh. Okay. All right. Welcome, ready? Welcome, Tank Engine Fan 12. Now this is epic. Yes, I made it. And sad. It's not sad because the after class stream isn't going to be gone. Once classes start back up, there's going to be a new form of the after class stream. And until classes, I'm going to be doing some other stuff, So summer is just going to be me doing different things. So yeah. Yeah, I'm going to wait a few minutes before I really get started because I'm waiting on something. That is very epic. Yes. So yeah. In honor of the after class stream, we're going to do some train stuff. And in the first episode, we were doing some things on the Cornish, the Cornish, that's how it's pronounced, right? Yeah. The Cornish main line. So I think we're going to do that again. We're going to do some of the other sessions on that line, including a freight run down the branch line, a mainline passenger train, and a shunting job at Falmouth Docks. So yeah. All right, I'm going to get set up a while. I was in the newest Leighton Live with Taj. I have not been... I need to actually watch Leighton Live once in a while. I did not know that. But good. That's good. But yeah, I need to get better at watching my fellow co-hosts' shows. It feels like the polite thing to do. Yeah, 4 people watching. Good, very good. Trains, get your butt in gear. I need to watch my phone. How about you make your own show, lol? Oh, yeah, as far as making episodes of my show. I should be able to ramp up production during the summer. Hopefully I'll get a May episode out. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. No promises. As far as a series, well, who knows when that's going to happen. He said he was on his way in, and he's not in yet. Curious. Very curious. All right. Who's not in? Not to be in. Who else? Who do you think is supposed to be in and isn't in? I'll give you a good old guess. But yeah, let me just get things set up here. And then we'll get started. Super Mario Universe. I swear, if the stream ends soon. No, we're gonna try and keep this one going for a while. But yeah, you were the one that came in like at the very end of the last stream, weren't you? He's not in here yet. He's supposed to be here. He said he was coming in, and he's not in yet. Gosh, darn it. What do you mean by the finale? It's the... I don't want to call it a season finale because it's not a season finale. It's the semester finale. You know, semester's over. I just had my finals. So, you know, you can't have an after-class stream without class. So it's the semester finale. It'll probably start back up come next semester. Ding, ding, ding. Tank Engine Fan 12. I'm waiting on Lemmy. Lemmy said he'd be here to make this finale the finale of all finales. What school do you go to? I go to Hack. Technically, I go to my bedroom, you know, here. And I log onto the computer and I talk with a professor who works with Harrisburg Area Community College. All right. I'm going to start working. I'm going to start these operating sessions a while, and then I'll just have to keep an eye out for when All right. I think he's a coming. I think. Let's see. It was great. As soon as I was like, I'm gonna move on, he's like, oh no, I'm actually coming in for real now. There he is. I'm gonna move on. There he is.
All right, there we go.
Oh, my volume's shit. There we go.
All right, how you doing, Dustin?
I'm doing good. I'm
Good.
doing very good. I essentially have no things to do now. Except for I need
that's
to.
a world of opportunities. That's what that is.
I still have a finale, not a finale, a final that I need to finish, but it's not a real final. He's
Okay.
like, here's this worksheet with like 20 some questions on it.
Right.
Make sure it's in by the 13th.
Okay. Well, that's there's worse finals than that. That sounds
Well, yes, that's probably like the best final ever. Honestly, my philosophy class was the best class I've had this year because it was just like, let's sit and talk about life.
That honestly sounds like a really great medium to learn. Just sitting around talking about it. That sounds nice. Calm, chill, other adjectives. Sounds good.
Now, can we all talk about how perfectly timed this live stream is?
Mm-hmm.
It's to the day. It is the 76th anniversary of the Railway series.
Wait, really?
Yes. This day, 76 years ago, the first book was published.
I remember I can't believe it's been a year. I remember last year they made a huge deal about this on Twitter. Everybody was like, "Oh, look, it's the what was that, 75th or whatever?" And it was this huge deal.
That's what comes before 76.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So like, what's weird about this to me is that like it's weird that we're celebrating the day that like Audrey's publishers finally decided to indulge him rather than the day he wrote the story. Like,
well, we don't know the day he wrote the story.
Yeah. But I guess we have to celebrate someday. So I guess today is that day. Railway series.
We're not celebrating the day that the publishers indulged him. We're celebrating the day that Gordon, Henry, and Edward saw themselves in a book.
Is that something to celebrate? Maybe Edward, he finally got like affirmation for the first time in his life that he was valuable. But Henry and Gordon, that's not good. That's been shielded from them at all costs.
I think that's a solid neutral with Henry.
All right, okay, I could see it with Henry. He's like the thing is he would see it. It would help his self-esteem, and then he'd read the stories, and it would immediately just plummet down like through the base floor. Like it just.
Gordon would just get mad. He's like, "What does it mean? I can't take it up some hill."
Why did they
that
tell
never
these
happened.
stories? Why not my heroism in the Second World War?
No, they're never going to write anything about that ever, Gordon. That's never going to be in the entire Railway series. But
Those are my best stories, damn it! I fought for England, and
yeah, no one's going to know. Like, I feel like we need. I mean, it's weird that we have a gap there. Like, there's definitely things that he would want told that are never going to be told. All of his heroism, all of his, his back-breaking midnight trains. No, he doesn't get that. Instead, we get him on the hill.
Me and my chocolate milk, you and your tea.
Yes, indeed.
So, can Yoo-Hoo really be considered chocolate milk?
Is it chocolatey and is it milky?
Kind of, yes.
Right?
But it's like
matters then. In my mind,
it's more.
That's chocolate milk. I hate this glass. I have 3 glasses. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Shrek. Okay, I watched it as a kid, but I don't like Shrek. I don't like seeing this as I drink.
I used to like those movies, as a young kid would, but then I discovered memes.
True.
And now I can't watch those movies the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some memes that just destroy movies because they just make the whole thing seem ridiculous. And Shrek is just has been memed more than it's been genuinely enjoyed at this point, I think. And it was enjoyed a lot by people, but it's just such a weird movie. It's about an ogre. It's like it's just weird. The whole thing is weird. Like, I enjoy the Shrek movies. They're good. But they're just not they're just weird. You know? They're
Well,
not, I'm not in
welcome to
mood
the
watch
after
them.
class stream finale, people, where we talk about Shrek memes.
Yeah, we're finally settling this Shrek problem. I have 3 glasses that are shaped exactly like this, and they're really great glasses. They're the right size, they're the right everything I like about them. But then the Shrek's big face is printed on the side of this. I wish I just had another one. The other 2 are perfectly pleasant Disney glasses. They like have little doodles of Mickey Mouse and stuff. Those are nice. But then this is something I have to deal with in my life. There's Shrek iconography slathered all over my drinking vessels. Ugh. Anyway, thank you for helping me cope with that, Dustin. I think I'm ready to move past it now.
All right. Oh, I forgot to share the audio again. I keep on doing that.
What is that? 2MT E? Is that what it is? I always forget. I can't tell between all those engines.
Maybe?
I think so. I think it's the Arthur-y guy that isn't Arthur. You know, the
Yes.
Arthur engine one.
I think so. I'm not sure. But once I start operating the session, I'll be able to say so for sure.
Oh, well, that's something to await then. Something to stick around for.
Ah, and it looks like Redding is going back through his pasta and noodles railway lore.
Oh my God.
He has to explain it to the newcomer who last episode joined the stream 2 minutes before I ended it.
Oh my God. Oh dear.
They were like, "Yay, I made it!" And then I was like, "All right, bye guys." And he's like, "No."
That's so sad.
Oh, never mind. That's not the one we're doing. This is the one we're doing.
Super Mario Universe 37. 37 says, I'm sorry, what? Where is the pasta noodle railway? What does it mainly transport? And then Eddie says, IVAT 2MT, which is not the answer to that question, but it's the answer to my question, and I appreciate that.
And then Redding's just like, "Don't ask questions."
Oh, God. The railways are like, I'm looking at that picture on your screen of like the engine spewing smoke up in this densely forested area, and it's like, how many fires are caused by steam engines? It's gotta be a lot, right? Like that's a lot of smoke and sparks and whatever coming out through the funnel. Boy, oh boy. Reading 3640 Studios says, Pasta and Noodle Railway is perfect. No flaws. Never. All right. Take your word for it. I'm just saying the IVAT 2MT is a wonderful engine, says Tank Engine Fan 12. I agree. It is
Arthur
wonderful.
would agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. I probably would. Or not. Maybe he has some sort of serious beef with his relatives.
Well, I mean, Arthur is an IVAT 2MT.
It's weird that he is. I wonder if the way that engines look at each other, they kind of look at, they view themselves as if they are the same class. Like if you look at like the tender engine version and the tank engine version, would they call themselves brothers? Would they be like, oh yeah, you made that choice to get the bunker instead, but you're still the same engine? In the same way that like
I almost wonder if they would be like half brothers instead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure on paper that would be more what it is, but I feel like it would be really interesting because sometimes they convert one to the other,
Yeah.
and it's like it's kind of like when Thomas tells Gordon, scrap your tender and get a nice bunker. He's not really saying like change your class. He's saying like make a modification. It's the same
Right.
thing as like if Gordon were to get sandboxes or a new funnel or something. Like,
yeah,
it's
because
like that.
it's like just because you have an A1 and an A3, it doesn't mean the A1 and the A3 are no longer brothers.
Yeah, it's
just
just that they've got a kind of a modification to them. And interestingly, even the A3s that are built as A3s are still counted in that category.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
And then Thomas, he still considers like his older siblings in the first batch his brothers. So
even though they don't have extended tanks, I love that we just assume that. We're like, oh yeah, we know that. He's never mentioned them once in any canon material anywhere ever.
Okay, well maybe Thomas doesn't, but the world at large.
Yeah. I would, but I like that though, is the fact that we kind of project what we think as Rail fans onto the characters, because we know that their thoughts are coming from us. It's not like we heard an interview with an E2 at some point and we're like, oh, this is how they think. It's like, no, it's the way that we, like, when we read historical kind of documentation, and when we read accounts of these locomotives, the way that historians talk about them and treat them as if they are related, we kind of project that on the engines. It's like, okay, if historians say that the E2's extended side tanks are brothers, essentially, are siblings, then the engines would think that too. And we just kind of assume that. We're like, oh yeah, Thomas would think that. Even though he's never talked about it, he doesn't really need to.
Yeah. For the longest time, I didn't realize, so I always thought when Thomas got rebuilt, I didn't realize that they lowered his entire running board. I thought they just got rid of the bend on the front of it.
So many people thought this. Like when I was, I think I picked up pretty early, like how the running board flattens. A lot of people still think this is that's what they did, but it would like, he needs more water capacity and more bunker capacity. So when you think about it, it's kind of a godsend that they did lower it to where they did. And I bet it's funny that the Fat Controller like did that, because think about, Thomas crashes into the house, he messes up the front, so fix the front. But no, it's like, no, we're gonna rebuild the whole thing. We're gonna take the entire chassis, drop it down. We're gonna, like, he made such radical.
And we are going to do this during a time where we have a very short amount of time period to get this job done.
Yeah, really. Yeah. That's a power move right there. That diesels are on the way and the railway's about to be dieselized potentially, and the Fat Controller's like,
let's drop $100,000 on restoring this steam engine for another 50 years.
Sir, he's going to be scrapped in 5.
No, he's not.
But he is though. Nope. He's not. Like, he's just so certain. He's like,
no, the money's going to be worth it. Trust me, he's still going to be running in 2050.
Like, he's got no doubt in his mind.
It's like, this is Thomas the Tank Engine we're talking about.
I couldn't kill him even if I wanted to. And some days I want to.
Oh my God. These engines are weird. They're cool, but they're weird. With their heads sticking out. It's like they're kind of poking out other pannier tanks.
Yeah, it's not the pannier tanks are shortened. It's the smoke box is sticking out.
Of course, yeah. It's it's slid out. It's a feature. It goes out in. It's like that.
It's like Top Hat, but sideways.
Oh my God, yeah. It is like that. I was gonna say it's like Scotsman's smoke deflectors in The Great Race, but no, that's a lot worse and better. Sir Handel was the Pasta and Noodle Railways controller, says Redding. And this explains why George hates railways so much. This story is consistent. This is what shocks me, is that they actually remember like the story. Redding, do you have like a document somewhere with this all written out so you can recount it every time? Oh my God.
Or, oh no, I guess it's in the live chat, so we wouldn't be able to just go back and copy paste.
Yeah. But look at how, is that a toad?
Yes, it's a toad.
It's so tiny. Look at that.
Why, hello, Mr.
Where you are.
9402. New headcanon. All toad break vans talk like toad.
Yeah. I could kind of see that, honestly. Like, they all look like him, talk like him. They're all just kind of, it's like one of those, when they do that in fictional shows, all shows are fictional. Well, how do I put this? Some storylines, some cartoons, this is something that they do sometimes where they reveal that a character that we know very well and is very beloved is actually one of thousands of clones, and they're actually not all that different from all the others. But then throughout the course of the show have become different, but they started out as an identical copy of like all these others. I can kind of see that being Toad, where he was kind of built as this kind of butlery servant to Great Western engines, and they were all meant to be identical and have his mannerisms. But then over time, he kind of broke free of that. Maybe because of Oliver, because Oliver is so kind of daring and gutsy in so many ways that he kind of encouraged him to kind of be somebody outside of the stereotype he was built for.
And Gates back in the chat.
Wait, Gate?
Gate, yes.
Your brother, Gate.
Yes.
I didn't realize he had a YouTube.
Yeah, he does. Unfortunately.
Is he crazy farm life?
Yes.
Hello, Gabe. How are you? I'm sorry about using the live trap, but I had to go on your train sets, so I'm watching on the phone and playing with Thomas. Don't know what that means. I feel like I missed something interesting.
He means live chat.
Okay.
I was annoyed the last time he and my mom decided to troll troll my live stream.
You need to install a better security system, I think, Dustin. You know what I want to figure out is, as you know, I want to do.
I know, Wyatt. Gate is watching my thing downstairs.
Has Wyatt entered the conversation?
Time. When I was in my room, I was very confused.
This is my life, people.
Wyatt's brain just short-circuited. He was like, hold on, you're talking to Gate. Gate's not here. Like, he couldn't handle it.
Tank Engine Fan 12. Yes. So are we going to tell Lemmy about the flying dirt road and the broken turntable from the last stream, or what?
It's on you. You tell me.
So yes, we were running the train on a route for the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad.
Right.
And it was like, so it's classic trains, broken dependencies. So there ends up being this one bridge where the bridge is like collapsed, and it looks like it's supposed to be collapsed. But then there's a hovering dirt road where the bridge is supposed to be.
That sounds to me like the road was mapped with the ground at some point and then just decided, never mind. And it just went straight again.
Well, I think it is that the bridge asset is broken. And that it just does weird things when it breaks. Because it's running with the ground. So I thought it was supposed to be modeled as like, a bridge that's collapsed, but
it was a bridge that had actually collapsed, not been designed to collapse.
Anyway, then we get to this one point where we have to turn around, and the engine that's taking this train is like, it's not a big boy, but it's like a big boy, one of those types of engines.
Okay.
And the turntable where I need to turn around was not big enough for a big boy.
Okay. What did you do?
So I get on the turntable and turn the engine around, and the whole engine is just, it's clipping this, it's basically pulling a Gordon, except it's staying on the turntable.
That's very unsettling. Oh my god.
Oh, and then we get to the end of the session, and then there's a signal box out of place. So we literally just run right through it.
Oh, great. That's lovely. I'm sure the signalman is pleased. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, good lord.
But yeah,
That's trains for you.
yes.
Good old trains.
We had a lot of fun last week.
I'm still taken aback by how big this engine is. It's a really big tank engine. It's like it's like E2 sized.
It kind of does look like, what if we took an E2 and filled in that bottom part? Except
Yeah.
really it's not filling anything in, it's cutting stuff out.
Yeah. It gives off that energy a lot, especially with the smoke box kind of sticking out. It has the same
Yeah.
general kind of length and silhouette, interestingly enough. It's like a Great Western E2. Yo, did Lemmy get a haircut? Says Wooden Railway Edward. Yeah, I did. I trimmed off like some of the bottom just because I was like, you know what? I like the long hair, but it also keeps getting in my mouth. I don't like that part. That's a very not fun part of the process. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna trim it off here, see if I can do that on my own. It didn't turn out terrible, so that's good. So I can cut my own hair to some degree. I can at least stop it from getting in my mouth. That's the vital thing. That's pretty bad if that happens to you. If that happens to you, seek professional help.
Gate, please.
Chugga chugga choo choo. Is he wrong? Chugga chugga choo choo. Come on.
I mean, he's not.
And further up, he says choo choo.
Gate, you're fully responsible. If Gate, just so you know, like these streams are not rated for children. These streams use big boy words. Shop talk.
I think he can handle it, personally. I'm just shooting down all your excuses. Wooden Railway Edward. Dustin needs to explain his analogy for getting the boat out of the canal. Canal, says Wooden Railway Edward, and then damn it, right afterwards. Okay. So what is your analogy for getting the boat out of the canal?
I was just saying how everyone was talking about violent solutions to get the boat out of the canal. And I was like, no, we should talk to it politely.
That's fair. Yeah.
Make
That's
the boat
true.
Relax.
Yeah.
It's easier to get out of a tight spot if you're relaxed.
That's true. Also, maybe get a stick of butter or something. That always helps too. All the normal household solutions.
Oh yeah, we'll cover the hull in butter. That's what we'll do.
Absolutely. That'll fix. I mean, that would be 300 metric tons of butter, but it would be worth it, I think, in the end.
Or as
it would permanently poison.
Or as my CTC teacher would call it, a metric shit ton.
That's great. We crossed a lot of bridges.
Did we though?
Maybe only two. I don't know. I saw another bridge after seeing the bridge earlier. I was like, oh, lots of bridges.
Yeah, because I only remember crossing the one.
Yeah, I think I probably
we
blew that
need
up
to confirm
to
this
about
now.
5. It was like, well, I've seen one bridge, so I've probably seen 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. 5.
There's a bridge. There's a big bridge. So there's 2.
There we go.
Oh, 3.
Ha ha ha! See that, audience? I'm a genius. No
But
one
only
ever
3.
questioned me again.
But is that really a bridge, though? It's so
I'll take
small.
that. That's a road bridge. It's
It's so tiny.
that counts. It's like a Bulgie's bridge. It is hardly a bridge, though. So basically, Genry used to be the god of the pasta and noodle railway universe. However, one day he violated the guaranteed connection and was subsequently incinerated. He violated the guaranteed connection. There's something so funny about that to me. It's like the guaranteed connection is this sacred thing. It's like the engines always make such a big deal about it. No one's ever broken a guaranteed connection. And if you do, I guess you get incinerated for it. God damn it.
I just
Look
love
at
how
that.
Henry with Gordon's face is now its own character.
Henry with Gordon's face. Poor old engine.
So now, who is Edward with James's face?
Well, I think before we decide that, we should realize that these are also ship names intrinsically. So, if we're gonna mix the two together, let's be careful here. Edward and James, Jedward. Oh, what else? Yames, Ed Ames, Adams,
Ames.
Jedward. I think it has to be Jedward. Edward's name starts with a vowel, so
Edward fucking everything up.
it kind of makes sense. Like, it's hard to he just the way his name is structured, he simply cannot lead the name. James's name dominates it, which I think makes a lot of sense. It's like Jedward. Of course, his J is going to come first. Because as we all know, the guaranteed connection is the strongest plot point ever, says Reading 3640 Studios. I mean, maybe. It's pretty strong. It's quite strong. Strong as those bridges we crossed. We all crossed them together. I envision we're all in those vans together. All 9 of us.
Is this the last stream till September? Last stream that will be called the after class stream. It is not the last stream, period. Just the last after class stream until September.
Yeah, think of it as this show's season coming to a finale, but it's a season, not a series.
It's the semester finale.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way to put it. So Lemmy kidnapped us and put us in bands together, says Tank Kitchen Fan 12. The plot thickens. There wasn't even a plot before that. Now
Yes, the secret trains 2019 plot.
yeah. The campaign that we didn't realize was in the game. So anyway, the god powers had to go somewhere, so they went into Sir Handel, who was the other part of the guaranteed connection, said Reddit 3640 Studios. And that kind of makes sense in a way. The engine that actually made the connection gets the power instead of the engine who broke it. So like in theory, if say Gordon was meeting Sir Handel, but he broke the connection, then the god powers would transfer to him because he was actually at the station, like a reliable person. That makes sense. That's fair. Eddie asks, how did finals go, Dustin?
I think they went okay. Maybe.
Good. Good.
We'll see. We'll see when my grades are finalized.
We shall see.
I know I got a 79 on my psychology final. So, and psychology is the class I'm worried most about. Really, I
That's
call these finals, but they were really just the last test. Like, they weren't
Right.
accumulative or anything.
Right, naturally. 79 is pretty decent. So if that's the one you're
Yeah.
most worried about, you should be okay.
But, you know, the big question is, does that save the rest of the year? Like, how bad did I do?
Well, I wish you the best of luck, Dustin. I mean, I know that the die is already cast, but I wish you the best of luck anyway. I wish you the best. I'm going to send the luck back in time. There we go. So then Sir Handel went absolutely bat, no word, crazy, and changed the whole world. Okay. Sir Handel with God powers is actually really amazing. Oh, Malenbeek is here. Hello, my guys. How you doing? Malenbeek. Did I
Doing
know-
good.
I remember seeing Malenbeek in my streams a lot. I don't remember if I talked to them outside of my streams or not. There's a lot of people that, like, say the Sodor Caterpillar is Dank from Twitter, and I had to be told that because I had no clue. Look, I'm an old-fashioned man, okay? I name myself the same way on every platform. I'm Master of the Lemons on Twitter, on DeviantArt, on YouTube, on my email, on Skype, on all my bank accounts, all my social security information, all my government passcodes, all my everything else really, as well.
You're legally named Master of the Lemons.
Yeah, it's on my birth certificate. I was born with that name. I mean, most people aren't born with a name. Most people get named afterwards. Not me. I was born with that name. My parents didn't have any say in it. It was just that was what the doctor decided. He was like, "Hey, your kid's called this, okay?" And they were too scared to argue, and so I've been Master of the Lemons ever since. Too scared? Why would you be so scared of a doctor? What were they doing exactly?
Oh. He
forgot
gave Duncan human legs and arms so he could rock and roll and dance like a pop star.
That seems like him. It's like that's like the equivalent of being friends with a mob boss, and he's like, "All right, now that I'm in charge in New York, I'm gonna treat you real nice. Give you anything you want. What do you want, Duncan?" And Duncan's just like, "Well, I would love to be able to dance. You got it. I'll get the best surgeons in the land." Jesus Christ. I think it's fitting that this stream has the most people. 8. What a high to finish on, says Tank Engine Fan 12. What a high. We're all high. Each and every one of us is high.
Even the 7-year-old.
Yeah. Yep. No, we're not. We're not high. No one's here is high. I'm going to say that for the government to understand. No one here is high. I mean, Dustin might be. I don't know if Dustin's high. I don't know if any. Honestly, I'm the only one here who I know for a fact isn't high, right? Everyone else could be high.
I mean, I might have a high blood sugar.
All right, well, that's something. So there you go.
So, Lemmy,
Yeah.
is your evil twin leader of the watermelons? According to
Not evil. I don't know why
Redding-
you assume he's evil. That's kind of rude. I have a twin with that name. Yeah, we haven't spoken in many years though. He's not evil. It's just we don't really see eye to eye. He's a big fan of Edward Thompson.
he's not evil, he's just misunderstood.
Yeah, that's mainly what it is. How does Mr. Bubbles fit into the pasta noodle railway lore?
Well, don't you know, Mr. Bubbles is the first god.
The first god. That's a terrifying phrase. The first
Well,
god.
you know,
Like, that's
clearly
so
Sir
fine.
Handel was the current god.
Oh my god. Ugh. Hold on. So when we say "oh my god" now, are we referring to Sir Handel?
Oh, hi. Oh, my Sir Handel.
Oh, my Sir Handel, my beloved Sir Handel, my dear, dear, sweet Sir Handel. Let's see. Malenbeek says, "Well, that's because I don't have Skype yet, but I've been planning to ask my parents to get it. Love to talk to you and Dustin in private, Lemmy." Yeah, I'd love to talk to you at some point, Malenbeek, and I'm sure we could have some good conversations. You know, but also, you know, I mean, there's so many. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I know there's a lot of youngsters who are perusing the internet. And when I was young, I wasn't allowed. I didn't really have a conversation with somebody on the internet really till I was like 16, I want to say. And I didn't really, I wasn't really in the community until I was like, no, it's more like 15 and 17, I think. 17 was really when I entered the community. There's a lot of young people here, though. There are like kids who are like 11 in this community. And a lot of them are really bright and really creative. But it's just crazy how many youngsters there are. And there's also Gate. So Gate's another example, but he's I don't think, something tells me I don't think he would be here if there wasn't a Dustin to bother.
Yeah, probably not.
Shake my head. I haven't been invited onto Track Plan banner. Shake my head. My head.
Well, you know, first I have to make episodes of Truck Plan.
This is true. This is quite true. I haven't made a character gallery in a while. I want to. I see it like right now I'm just kind of taking a break from it. Me and Matt both are. Because me and Matt still talk a lot, right? I mean, he's one of my best friends. But, you know, it's just we don't record it and put it on the internet. And there's something nice about that. You know? It's kind of like how, like, you know,
Okay, I gotta stop you for a minute
Yeah,
here,
go
Lemmy. Gates was listening to our hi comment, and he's saying, "I'm pretty tall." Yeah, Gate, honey, that's not what we meant.
I'm sure you're plenty tall, Gate. Good job. No, not good job. Height is not something to be proud of. It's just something to be observed. Also, we weren't talking about height. Who would be the most likely to become a dictator out of the engines on Sodor besides Emily, is what Malenbeek says. Which I love that at this point, when I'm in the conversation, that has to be prefaced. It's like, okay, don't say Emily. All right, well, if I can't say Emily, Diesel wants to be a dictator. And if he could get away with it, he would. But he would make it look like he wasn't a dictator. He would make it look very democratic, and he would try to win everybody over, but then he'd just have all of his dissidents killed.
Well, of course he wants to, but that doesn't necessarily make him most likely to.
Yeah, that's true. I think Diesel would he would be ruling the entirety of the British Isles right now, if not for Duck. I think that the one reason he hasn't is because he has this irrational rage and bitterness towards Duck. So he's kind of like Lex Luthor, right? Lex Luthor would get so much further if he wasn't so obsessed with Superman, but he is,
right.
And he can't get over it. And it's
like,
Diesel, the same thing with Duck.
Lex Luthor could probably even be, you know, at least a match for Batman, except he's too concerned about Superman.
Exactly. It's his rage. It's the fact that he can't separate emotion from it. Because Diesel, I think, you know, does have a lot of spite, and he has a huge ego that he has to protect. So when Duck humiliates him, he has to get back at him, and he just keeps failing to get back at him. And so he keeps doing that rather than trying to rule the world. So if Duck didn't exist, I think Diesel would totally, you know, he would probably become a dictator. But it's the fact that he keeps getting distracted by his nemesis. I think in terms of dictators, the Fat Controller could effectively become a dictator, I think, if he had that sort of heart, right? If he wanted to be in control of Sodor. I think what's so cool about the Fat Controller, and I've written stories where I want to get this across, is I don't think he wants to be the controller. I think he needs to be. I think he understands that what he does is necessary and that he's the only person with the integrity and willpower to lead the Northwestern Railway and, in a way, lead the island because he leads its economy.
Because I think there must be some sort of politics to what he does, and it's kind of that, like, they say that, like, you know, if you do politics, like, if you try to be good, like, it won't work. Like, like, there's that level of, you know, it's so stressful to keep your integrity when doing politics, and I think that's kind of the same thing with. I think
the some of the best leaders have been leaders that didn't want to be leaders, honestly, because, like, you know, if somebody is actively looking for power, then they're gonna naturally make some selfish decisions. I don't think the Fat Controller wanted it. Think about how he started. He was an engineer. He was designing things. He was building bridges. He was designing sheds and stuff. He was, you know, I think that's what he loved, was designing things alone in his workshop, you know, at the drafting table. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know, oh, it turns out that, you know, I mean, we don't have anyone else to run the railway. You're the best choice. And he keeps getting propelled up through the ranks, even though it's not really his passion. And so now he's in charge of this railway full of these annoying steam trains who he loves dearly, but also are constantly giving him a headache. And I think that makes him a great leader. The fact that he doesn't really want to be leader, but he does it out of duty and responsibility. And so he would never become corrupt because he doesn't want the power in the beginning. He doesn't even want the power he has now, let alone the power that he would have if he were leader of the island. Now, if the Fat Controller wanted to, I think the whole island would make him king. They all love him. He is the modern Duke of Sodor, is really, in a lot of ways, what the Fat Controller is. You know, because it's to the point where Sodor doesn't even technically have like a duke. They have like an earl. And he doesn't even have any real power, really. So it's like,
hold up a minute, Lemmy.
You know,
Gate, you have no room to be saying what is a joke and what is not a joke.
It's called.
I'm not sure what he thought was a joke, but I don't remember any of us making a joke that we weren't somewhat serious about.
Some of the best conversations happen when you take jokes seriously, because no one ever expects it. They're like, "Whoa, what did he just do?" And you can't do that, but you can, and I do. Also, this is why I'm thinking about changing my channel name from Master of the Lemons to just Lemmy, because everybody misspells my name. It's a Y at the end. It's Lemmy. It's not an E. It's not IE. It's Lemmy with a Y. Like, that's such an intricate way to spell it with an E at the end. It's so fancy. Like, it's like you're speaking French, Gate. You're like Lemmy. The Fat Controller, Sir Topham Hatt, also the only person that probably wouldn't kill a single engine on his fleet, which justifies Audrey's 80 engine statement. Now that I think about it, it says tank engine fan 12. I just think the size of the island justifies the 80 engines. Everybody looks at that like, oh my god, where are all these engines? It's like, at Wellsworth and Marin and Kronk and Kildane and all the other thousands of stations on the island we've barely seen that there must be engines shedded at a lot of them. Like, it's a big railway, right? You need a lot of engines to run a railway of this size, right? I mean, we don't even know who the current shunter at Tidmouth is. So if we don't know something that important, clearly there's a lot of areas of the island that have locomotives that we're not. He's gone. Dustin is gone. I've taken over the stream. Hello, everybody. How are all of you? I'm good. I don't know what happened to Papa Dustin. I'm sure he'll be back soon. If he's gone for too long, I can send Gate to harass him, but I wouldn't want to do that. No, he's coming back. Oh, there you are. All right, good.
Internet bugged.
I assumed as much. I was in charge of the stream for a few moments there.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably the best few moments of my life. I got to be honest. We were talking about dictatorships I felt that. I was dictator for just a few seconds, and I have to say, I think I'm gonna get into politics now. I think I'm gonna try to take over the world.
So that's my plan.
You say
I'm
that
gonna-
so casually.
I'm going to first become president.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to use my resources as president to secretly build a robot army
Okay.
to take over the world.
Right.
I am then going to find the secret to immortality.
Okay. Good.
And then I solely will rule the world forever and
Okay.
ensure that justice is dealt with correctly.
Right. That's good. That's a relief. I was worried about the world.
Peace through
I think I'll be
tyranny.
good. I will be good after that. I'm a little concerned that the first step to your grand plan is become the president of the United States. That seems like you should build up to it a little bit more, maybe. You know, like I don't know, get into politics first. That could maybe help. But you know, I believe in you. Honestly, I think you can pull this off.
We don't
I'm gonna have to
get
form a resistance.
politicians to be the president anymore. We get oranges to be the president now.
Oranges. I just think there are a lot of people, and I think the odds of you becoming the president, as opposed to all the other people, I don't want to let your hopes down, but I feel like you're not gonna waltz right in there and become the president of the United States. It just seems unlikely to me. But again, I don't know. I don't know for sure if that's. I mean, you could maybe.
Oh, Gate, he's obviously so far behind. When I said I'm pretty tall, when you were talking about the height thing, Gate, we weren't talking about height.
You realize you just keep leaving him with questions that he wants answered. He's just gonna keep coming back. World domination
Well,
in 3 easy steps, says Tanjoy0205.
Gate, come back when you're older.
Come back to this stream. It'll still be going. You guys is utterly destroyed. So I'm thinking of doing the Lemmy Challenge tonight, says Malenbeek. Don't ever do the Lemmy Challenge. Don't do it. Don't. Here's the best way to fix your schedule. So my schedule is disastrous right now. I got up, no lie, an hour and a half.
Plot
ago.
twist. Dustin builds his robot army first and makes them vote for him.
That's really sinister, actually. That the whole idea of making more people so that then that counterbalances the vote is it's quite a sick idea. It could work.
No, see, to become president, I'm just going to fix all the voting machines.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. That's I hear a lot of people have done that already. So that's good. Yeah, it happens all the time. That's we should fear the democratic process. Everyone fear the democratic process. Everybody, let's all fear it. Don't fear the democratic process. It works fine.
A good old Rudy Productions stream pointing out that we really don't live in a democratic system. We live in something that poses as a democratic system.
Tanjoy0205 says, Lemmy, what is the Lemmy Challenge? So here's another spelling of Lemmy with one M instead of two. So the Lemmy Challenge is what people have called, what fools have called, when I stay up all night and do a stream, staying up all night. And it's not a good thing. I only do it when my schedule is disastrously broken. No one should have a schedule as broken as mine, unless they're
Unless they're me.
Well, all right, but that's different. Right? You have obligations that force you to get back on schedule, Dustin. So you're not in danger of just getting up at 5 forever. I am. There's nothing stopping me from doing that permanently. So sometimes I have to take evasive action, drastic measures.
Oh dear God! How do I only now notice this?
So notice what?
I was clipping through this bridge support.
I've noticed it like 10 times. I wasn't gonna say anything. I was hoping you would just get past this before you saw it. But yeah, now you know.
There's also
Now
the
you
fact
can't
that
unsee
it don't look right.
yeah, it's weird. That signal box is kind of. How do signal boxes work? How did can you really see the whole yard from there?
Yeah, it's so. I've been how do I word this? So as far as designing operations for Sodor, by the way, I think I've compiled a nearly complete list of potential industries to go on to Sodor.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, it takes up an entire sheet of paper. So, but yeah, I got a lot here. And many of them are a lot more specific than they really need to be. But there's going to be a whole bunch of combination and stuff. Some industries are going to get merged together. For instance, I did not realize there's a lot of sand coming out of the Sodor China clay pits.
Huh.
It even mentions that in the I don't know which book it is. I don't know if it's Reading Between the Lines or People, History, and Railways. But they dump a lot of sand and quartz at Brendam.
Huh. Interesting. Does clay mining produce a lot of sand?
Well, I imagine so. Especially
Does that count
since
as sand. I guess I don't really know what clay is really. I mean they're what are they digging up exactly? Because when I think of clay, I think of mushy stuff you can sculpt stuff with, but that's not what it is out
well,
of the
yeah,
ground.
but clay is typically located near water. You know,
I
along with
guess that's
sand.
true. I didn't really realize that. Like when the CGI series depicted the clay pits and we saw all this water, I was like, "Oh, that's cool, but what is that all about?" It's like, well, yeah, that's how clay happens. Yeah, it's interesting how we can know. All I know about a clay mining operation is that's where Bill and Ben work. That's all I know. I don't know what it is really. I don't know what the point is. I know they make stuff. They're we need the clay to make plates and whatnot. But that's about it. So that's interesting. Sand.
Yeah.
So that's a
So-
type of thing.
And the one thing where sand came up is that every engine facility will need sand replenished.
Yeah, that's true. That's interesting. So that it's funny that Bill and Ben are producing something which prevents accidents. That's
No, that's
really
why.
ironic.
That's why in the railway series they just dump it.
right. They dump it in the sea, no less. Okay.
They don't even dump it in the sea. Apparently, there are what they call the White Mountains of Brendam, where it's just these white mounds of quartz and sand.
That actually, I feel like I've seen that in illustrations. That's weird, huh? That's cool. I didn't even know this.
So yeah, but I'm gonna have it that there's probably some sort of additional company that exports the sand and quartz and separates them and then sells the sand to the Northwestern.
Yeah.
To keep the China Clay Company, the China Clay Company, and not the
Right.
China Clay and also quartz and sand, I guess, company.
The I guess is part of the name. Yeah, I think that makes sense to have some sort of intermediary company that's kind of taking the stuff and repurposing it. Probably, I'm sure there's some filtering necessary too. I mean, they probably got.
Yeah, because I mean they dump the quartz and the sand together. Like,
Right.
so just by that, it's like, okay, the sand and the quartz is obviously gonna need separated. And there's
Right.
probably some other soil in there as well, soil and dirt and whatnot.
Yeah, just
So
like that is most likely, said Sir Topham Hatt. Not sure why he
Gate
said that.
is younger than me, Tanjoy.
Gate says that he is a minute older now. So now we get to tell him he's older now, so we can tell him what the high thing meant.
I'm assuming he's trying to talk about how far behind or not he is on the stream. I'm assuming that's what he's trying to articulate. But he's 7, so he don't do correct sentencing good yet.
I know that he's your brother, and so it's not like he's some random kid on the internet unsupervised, but like still it's crazy that like a 7-year-old can use the internet. I guess I did when I was his age, but I didn't talk to people on there. I didn't like reach out to folks. That's nutty.
I just saw some floating grass. This route was supposed to be good.
Floating grass. There's nothing like floating grass in the morning.
I love the smell of floating grass in the morning.
Absolutely. Exactly. But please remind us of the story so far.
So yeah, I'm developing a lot of industry stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm getting closer.
Do you have names for everything?
Not yet.
Yeah, I figured that's what you would leave to last, which is interesting because that's the first thing I would do.
Yeah. Mostly because I'm not exactly sure where it's all gonna go yet. And
Right.
I hate the whole Sodor cement,
Grain company.
Sodor this, Sodor that.
Because it's like, that's so vague. Like that's not like you're doing most of
and
your
that
business with
contributes
people
to
on
the
Sodor.
idea that Thomas doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it does.
The Big World, Big Adventures thing came up because now I'm sure this interview was faked, but apparently one of the show creators said that some kid said, trains go places, Thomas doesn't go anywhere, and I'm like, you do realize trains only go from point A to point B.
Right. So it's like it's all a matter of perspective, right? The outlook that he doesn't go anywhere is so pessimistic because that's implying that you have to like leave the country or something. Like I live in California. Lived in California my whole life. I've left California before, but very, very briefly. I wouldn't say I've never gone anywhere. I've gone to different places within California. That's okay. You don't have to constantly leave your country in order to go places in your life. You go to the store, you go to the park, you go to the idea of going somewhere is relative, right? And so like with Sodor, I mean, the problem is the show sees Sodor as one location. It's not. It is the world. Sodor's the world, and then the locations are Tidmouth Sheds, Tidmouth Station, Knapford Station, Great Waterton, Crovan's Gate, like all these places that are all different from each other, all interesting. And there's a million different places you could go on Sodor. But it's the fact that they just decided, no, that doesn't count. It's because Sodor counts as one location. It's just weird, the perspective there.
Gate, what are you talking about, duck in the corner?
What?
There is no duck in the corner.
Duck in the corner. Let me look at the screen again. What is he? Oh, the StreamYard logo he's talking about.
Oh, yeah, that's that Gate. That's the thing I'm using. I'm looking for like something that looks like a duck in my room, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got the stream up on YouTube as well, just muted to kind of see what the audience is seeing real time. And I immediately saw that in the top right, and I was like, oh, okay.
Reading. Welcome to the Sodor McDonald's.
The Sodor McDonald's. How many McDonald's do you think are on Sodor?
One, right next to Sir Topham Hatt's house.
Yeah, and he's the only one who gets to use it.
If anyone comes in here, I'll kill them. I mean it.
This is what happens when the Fat Controller becomes a dictator. He doesn't like make sweeping political changes. He just builds a McDonald's and then keeps staff there, and then retreats into his home forever.
I will say this is probably one of my favorite operating sessions on this game because it operates very realistically.
That is
Like,
good.
I actually I start out with a set of cars and then I actually swap them out with other cars along the way. I remember like one of the sessions, it's like you start out with like 5 boxcars and then you go to several places and pick up so many boxcars as you go, but you never
Right.
drop anything off. It's like that's not how that works.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's a more simplistic view of how railway operations work. That's true. True.
So yeah. But yeah, as far as how the Sudrian project is going, actually no, because I've kind of already said my piece about the Sudrian project. I wanna talk about a few of my other projects, because one thing I'm thinking on actually trying to do some stop motion stuff.
That would be cool. I know you've talked about that a long time.
Yeah, I think for a while, what my big concern was is that, okay, if I do a stop motion, I want it to be like, this level of good. Well, it's really hard to do really good stop motion.
Right, it takes forever.
And then I also want to make sure I have the characters that I want, which, gets expensive.
Right.
Because unlike Thomas, I can't have cardboard, I can't use cardboard versions,
Well, you could, but it'd be a lot more intricate.
I guess I could, theoretically I could, but it would not be worth the time spent. So yeah, I kind of have to buy things.
Right.
So anyway, what I'm gonna start doing is I think I'm gonna start doing stop motion reviews of individual figures, and then that way I can slowly improve my craft, and then once I get it to the point where I'm happy with it, then I can start working on the stories that I've wanted to do.
Yeah, that's a cool idea, Dustin. I like that. That's that's a good way to kind of build yourself up.
Yeah,
Because if you dive right into the deep end, then it would probably become overwhelming.
Yeah. So I actually have I pre-ordered a 3-set. It's one of my favorite groups, the Rainmakers. So it's a triplet of Seekers who are all basically Starscream repaints. So
Right.
basically, as soon as they come, I'm gonna start shooting start filming for this review.
That's cool. So what parts of
Gate
parts
and voice to text. Steroids, this still doing that, so there, this still do that.
Okay. That's very enlightened. So what would like the stop motion elements be? Like when would stop motion come into play?
It would basically the whole video segment, the whole video would be stop motion. It's just instead of things off, I would use stop motion to show things off.
Interesting.
I've seen one or two reviewers that do stop motion with their reviews as well. And I always figured that if I do it,
when I think of a review, I tend to think of like I can't really picture like what exactly would be animated, because it's like I picture like in a review, right, you're showing off the item, so it might like spin 360 degrees. But other than that, like I'm trying to picture what the animation side is.
It's also a transformer.
Oh,
so
that's true. Yeah, so that part is something that's it'd be clumsy to do it with your hands to just transform the thing and take 20 minutes doing it. But if you were to actually like fluidly animate that, on the table in front of the camera, that would be pretty badass. Like to actually see that happening in real time. And that's cool.
There's also like articulation to show off and all that, so you can show off some of the action poses and features.
The way you talk about this brand, I've honestly forgotten that they transform. I was like, I forgot they turn into cars. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
It's like, oh yeah, Optimus Prime is also a truck.
Yeah. Like I just think about this like brave and noble leader that's been fighting for billions of years. I don't think about like the gimmick involved as well, which is also an important part of it. But it's like that doesn't occur to me. It's kind of like how I can talk about the Thomas characters for hours without bringing up the fact that they're engines. Like that doesn't necessarily need to be brought up. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, there's two franchises that are very easily humanized.
Yeah, really. I should tell you more about my humanized Thomas stuff, because I've told you a bit, Dustin. But it's like I feel like I'm coming up with some ideas lately that I don't want to give away in the stream, but later remind me about it, because some of it's very multiversey and very crossovery, and I feel like you really get a kick out of it.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, my Omniverse projects, which is where the stop motion stuff comes in, it's very much just crossing over everything.
Yeah, right. This is one of the first things that Dustin led with when we became friends, was he talked about how he just loves to cross everything over. And it's really cool. Just the idea of bringing everything you love into one. I wish I could be that daring. I used to like cross over stuff a lot more. I used to cross over Thomas and Tugs, and now I've become a crotchety old man and I don't even consider it. But it's like cool just to take everything. That is
I
cool,
feel like especially some
together.
franchises really lend themselves towards it. Like
Right.
Doctor Who and Star Trek are the two that really come to mind.
Yeah,
and that
because it's
the
already
whole
kind of
point is that you're exploring and finding new worlds and things. So
Exactly. And whereas others are like Thomas is very quaint and very grounded and very realistic. But then Magic Railroad, I think, if there's one weak point I can see where you could like really, do multiverse stuff, it would be Magic Railroad. That's where like all the sci-fi magic stuff comes in, and that's why I like Magic Railroad so much. Is I feel like there's a lot of different ways you could use that element to kind of bring Thomas into the. In a way, it's kind of like how I feel like out of all the characters in the Justice League, Batman's the one that's the hardest to bring in, and that's kind of reflected in the way he behaves and interacts with the other characters. Is he's the least willing to be part of the team, and I think that's because
Right.
Gotham is the most grounded, right? Superman is a literal, he's an alien with superpowers, right? Wonder Woman is like a Greek, goddess's daughter that's been alive for like 1,000 years and was made out of clay. Like, you know, there's all these like crazy characters that are all aliens or have superpowers, and then Batman is the most grounded out of all of them. So like he's probably the hardest to kind of bring into the Justice League, but he's also, I think, had the most properties. He's had the most shows. And I think that's because he's the most grounded. Now, like a lot of Batman shows never even involve the Justice League because they're, you know, he can kind of exist without them. Anyway, so the point is there's some properties that are just a lot more grounded. And like Thomas is one of those where if you're trying to like mesh Transformers and Star Trek and, you know, all this stuff together, Thomas is going to be one of the harder ones to bring in, but you could still do it. And it would be really badass when you did, because then it's like, wow, he made it work.
Yeah.
Right?
At one point, I was considering it. Because at that point, I was thinking Thomas would be in a, what's the word? Contemporary version of our timeline.
Right.
But then it became just our timeline.
Yeah.
Then that changed.
Right.
But back when it was like a contemporary version, you know, I was like, oh, like I can have all the superheroes show up and basically have big showdowns on Sodor. But
Right.
eventually I just got tired of trying to make Sodor special enough to make it the center of the multiverse.
Yeah. Right. And it's interesting because like there is a part of me that like if I were in that position, I'd want to make Sodor kind of the point that everything fixates on. But honestly, I feel like Sodor is humble in a lot of ways too, where it makes sense for it to not be the focal point, because it's like it's just kind of this, you know, it does its own thing, right? It doesn't really.
And honestly, as much as I might miss the whole putting Sodor in the multiverse, and who knows, maybe a version of Sodor will.
Right.
But as much as I miss that, I kind of like that Sudrian and Omniverse are both seen as equals.
Yeah, that's cool. That's honestly because if you throw Sodor in there, it's kind of, I don't want to say stooping to Omniverse's level because they're both cool, but it's like, you know, it's all of a sudden it's almost like Sodor is trying to impress the rest of the universe, whereas like it's not even trying to compete the other way around. It's literally just, no, we're our own thing, you know. And I think that's cool. Like, you know, I think that fits. That works.
Someone actually made a tweet editing Birdie and Ace into the first cars.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Gate. He does not, voice to text does not work for him. He was trying to talk about how his one Optimus Prime toy, its nickname is Fatimus because it looks like he's fat.
Yeah.
But voice to text is not working for him. Gate, for your own sake, just stop. Stop. Voice to text does not work.
My God. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I never used that feature. I remember when I don't want to say I remember when it first came out because that sounds really like a long time ago. But I remember when I kind of remember when people started using it and making a big deal about Siri and stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
I've never really gotten it. It's like, why don't I just type it out? Like, I'm going to say it to my phone, really? But a lot of people use that and it's very useful to them. You know, it's surprising to me how many people jump at the opportunity to like.
There are
speak
some
into their
times
phone.
where it can be very useful.
Yeah.
I've never been in
But,
one of
like,
those situations.
Yeah, me neither. That's the thing. Oh my God. Hold on. I'll be right back, Dustin.
Okay. Oh. All right. It's just us now. It's not Gabe. It's Gate. As in swinging on a hinge. But yes, I'm pretty sure he is like 10 minutes behind. All right, we're gonna pull into the station, and we're gonna wait until Lemmy gets back. And hold up, what's this? Who are you?
All right, I'm back. Now,
What
I
are
regret to inform you, Dustin, that I'm gonna have to dip in 30 minutes, but I will be here until then. So,
Okay. Alrighty then.
think of that.
Well
what
then,
you-
as soon as I finish pulling this train in here, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna run down and get a soda so you can entertain the stream.
Oh, excellent. I'll take over once more. I do love that. Everybody prepare for a Lemmy presidency.
You know, that makes me wonder. It still astounds me how close I am to getting 100 subscribers.
What, 100? Hold on. You only have 88? I thought you had like 370 or something, would have been my guess. I don't.
No.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I only have 88 subscribers.
That baffles me. And baffled. Consider me baffled. Not that subscribers matter all that much, but it still baffles me. I'm thoroughly baffled. I've said baffled enough now that it sounds like a Miller era episode where it's like, he was bumped and baffled and diggled and jiggled and swiddledy
Biggled and
fiddledy.
jiggled.
Oh my God. I don't really blame. Like, I understand that it can be hard to come up with adjectives and verbs and stuff. Like when you use up a lot already. Like I've been writing, like the stories that I've been writing on my DeviantArt for all the human stuff. Those are like I haven't written stories, from like the third person perspective, like that are meant to be read like a novel in a long time. I used to write them all the time for the Cars universe. And then I stopped for a long time, and for years now, ever since I joined the community, it's been like 5 years, I've only written scripts. I've remembered that I really do like writing with a narrator and writing kind of in the, because you don't have to convey everything through the camera. You can just tell the audience what you mean. It's like Thomas was thinking this, Gordon was thinking this, and it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to show it. I don't have to like come up with some fiddly way for them to be doing that. I could just I could say what they think, and it's kind of nice that way. It's like like has the directness of like character gallery, but it has like kind of the polished story feel of like a script. But anyway, the point is, I've been doing a lot of writing, and all the narration requires a lot of adjectives and a lot of description. I want to try to keep it interesting, and I've written 2 chapters of this already. And so, like, I've been trying to kind of...
Typically, the stories you write don't have narration at all.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like I'm not really used to it. I am and I'm not, because for years I only did stuff with narration. And then once I came to the community, everything was a script. So now I have 5 years of script experience, but not narration. And so it's like, now I have to think about that again. Is like, how do I do that? And I think what it is when it's like a video, I don't like having narration because the medium is not writing. The medium is visual. You're supposed to be seeing everything. I mean, why have it all on screen? Why say anything if you have it all on screen, right? But when you're writing like a novel or like some sort of fan fiction, then that's very different, because at that point you kind of want to utilize the fact that it is writing, the fact that you might have a picture attached to it or something, but largely it is, it's like you're writing a book. And so you do want to have as much writing as possible. And a storyteller, a narrator does make a lot of sense in that context, because it's like the emphasis is on the text, on the words, on the writing. So I do like a storyteller, a narrator in that respect. But it's very hard to come up with a bunch of different ways to say a character is angry, or a character is exhausted, or a character is frustrated, or whatever. Like, you run out of adjectives and verbs and stuff very quickly. So I kind of understand where the Miller era writers were at, and what they kind of what they were struggling with. They should have been able to do a better job than they did, but still, like, I get it.
I mean, the reason that I don't give them that amount of slack is because, like, seasons 5 through 7 did it fine. The Brenner era did it fine. Heck, even Blubba, like, didn't use annoying adjectives. Like,
Right.
Blubba is, like, it is a monstrosity as far as, what Thomas is.
But it's executed very effectively. And
But yeah, it's not the stupid baby levels of writing that made up the Miller era.
right. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, it's you kind of with the Miller era, you have to look at what's happening, not what's being said. You have to read between the lines, really, because like there's a lot of
with Blubba, you can't do that because what's being said and what's happening on the screen, like, what if you would just look at what's going on screen with the Miller era, you could come up with your own story.
Right.
As far as Blubba, you could split those two apart and you're still stuck with trash.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that, like, it's a lot of it is conceptual. It was very, it was premeditated, everything that happened in Big World Big Adventures. They decided that Thomas would do a loop-de-loop. They decided that Thomas would cross parts of South America that do not have tracks crossing them, that sort of thing. They decided all that stuff actively, and they knew what they were doing. Whereas in the Miller era, the core of it, the heart, is good, right? Now the story may talk like it's drunk, but at least it's still the story, right? Whereas Big World Big Adventures is totally sober, and but it's just a crazy ass person. That's the difference between those two. And I do like Big World Big Adventures in a lot of respects, but the thing is, it doesn't throw the characters under the bus. The characters are really good. Like, Thomas does behave like Thomas in a lot of ways. I love that he's having a midlife crisis the whole movie. That's so Thomas he's basically chasing the new shiny fancy sports car. Except it's a guy.
Out of everything, the actual movie was decent. Like, if the movie was as all Big World Big Adventures as we got, I would have been perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
show,
Thomas has one little jaunt around the world. I can get with that.
Right. Even then, I think what I don't like about the show is the fact that it doesn't involve the other characters. That I'm disgusted by the fact that Thomas leaves Annie and Clarabelle behind in favor of these two other coaches that look just like them but are green. It's like, really? No, Thomas would throw a fit at Brendan. He'd be like, no, I'm not going anywhere until those two are on the boat. And then the dock manager would be like, but Thomas, we don't have two more. You want us to get two more barges? Yes, get them now. They're coming with me. He would throw a fit, right? He wouldn't go anywhere without his coaches. They literally. See, does anyone remember
here's the thing. My biggest problem with Blubba is Thomas would not want to go around the world.
I could see him wanting to, though, is the thing. Like, I honestly don't know if that's necessarily true. I think, I guess.
I just feel like, because I've so disassociated Thomas with, like, the sarcastic college student who's way overworked, that, like, I feel like he'd just be like, no, I gotta work on my brunch line.
Yeah.
What are you saying? I can't do this. I have to work on my brunch line.
I think here's the thing, it's true, but I think really when he says I have to work on my branch line, what he's really saying is I have to work on my career and I have to make something of myself. And so the reason he's so hyper-focused on the Farquhar branch specifically is because that's his best chance to do that. But if he had a way to make something greater of himself, to make a bigger difference in the world, I think, to be known by more people and to kind of take his legacy to the next level, I think he might actually do that. And it's interesting because he's constantly reaching for greater and greater things. I think when he gets out of the shunting yard and gets his own branch line, it's not so much that it was always his dream to have a branch. It was always his dream to be worth something, to be in the history books, to be somebody. And if he can be a greater somebody, I think he's going to do that. Now, I think he would need to first get dissatisfied.
The real reason he hates Stepney. I was supposed to be the first famous tank engine.
Yeah, I think that is what it is, though, right? It is when those two come together, it is a total dick measuring contest. It is like that is one of my favorite stories in all of Thomas is when Thomas and Stepney meet, because that is just so great. Like the two of them are basically, it's like, my branch line's better. I hate to break the news to you, mate, but my branch line's better known. Oh, is it now? Oh, do you have a book? Well, I have several, but they're published by actual historians, And he cracked like a cheeky smirk, and Thomas would be like, shut up. Like, I just love that clash, right? And it is because Thomas, is insecure about how valuable he really is, what an asset he is. And Stepney really isn't, which makes it so funny and one-sided.
Gate, stop. Gosh, he's worse. He's worse than a Uber fan.
What's he saying?
Just like those people that keep on spamming in the comments. Can I?
Let's see. Where I don't even see. Can I come up? Oh my God.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go get my soda. So you entertain the chat, and then I will set my brother straight.
Okay. Well, best of luck with that.
That sounded more ominous than it was supposed to.
It did sound very ominous. Wish you the best of luck, Gate. Anyway, hello, audience. I'm enjoying the conversation so far. I really do. I just love Thomas has honestly become one of my favorite characters because he has a lot more complexity than I think people give him credit for. Because he's constantly striving for something that he's never even going to achieve, I think. He shoots for the stars constantly. And even when he's the most famous engine in the world, he's still going to keep doing that, is my belief about him. And so I think that's why Big World, Big Adventures works on a conceptual level, because I feel like he would want to go around the world and he would want to make something of himself. However, not at the expense of his friends, I think, is the key. I don't think he'd want to permanently leave everyone behind. I think he'd bring them with him. I think that's what he'd do. The show is called Thomas and Friends, so why is Big World, Big Adventures entirely about Thomas abandoning his friends? It's not called Thomas and a bunch of strangers that he just met who he might become friends with. It's Thomas and friends, right? It's his friends. If he abandons his old friends to make new ones, then what's the point? And that's kind of my problem with it. But if the entire island, imagine if maybe the first 5 engines all went around the world together, that would work. That would be amazing. It'd be off the wall insane, but folks, Thomas has done a loop de loop. Okay, we're past that point. It doesn't really matter at this stage, I would say. Lord Lemmy has returned, says Tanjoy. Well, Lord Dustin has just returned, so I'm afraid Lord Lemmy was short-lived.
All right. Now I'm going to start driving the mainline train.
Oh, yes.
Probably less Gordon and more Henry.
Oh, yes. What a lovely train.
Though I'm pretty sure I'm following a Gordon. Henry and Gordon, if they were fused with Duck.
Fused with Duck. Oh my God. That for some reason that makes me think of a power, not Power Rangers, but a scenario. Those shows where you've got 5 different people manning the arms and legs of a giant robot.
So yeah, Power Rangers.
All right. Okay. I don't know enough about them. So imagine
Power Rangers, Voltron.
Yeah, I know Voltron. Imagine that was Duck, Gordon, James, and Henry. That would be amazing. Duck
you have not seen Transformers, have you?
I have. I remember when it came out, but it's not quite as. It doesn't have the character dynamics I'm looking for. But I think
My speaker just beeped at me, and I don't like that.
yeah, I don't know what that's about. That's kind of frightening.
That means its battery is dying.
Oh, battery. Your speaker has a battery.
Well, yes, it's a Bluetooth speaker.
Oh, okay. Just now registered that. No wonder it gives you such trouble. It's not. It can't be tied down. It's not a.
Well, it is tied down, but that doesn't tie its power down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I plug it in the same way I plug in my my headphones.
If only Tesla had lived a little bit longer, then he could have. He would. You know, I think when Tesla died, he was working on transmitting power wirelessly, like
Yes.
electricity. That would be
Yeah.
like amazing. Our world would be totally.
You know, the funny thing is, I learned that from a Doctor Who episode.
different. That's great.
So, like, me and my mom, we watched this Doctor Who episode, and you know, she's like, "He didn't like really invent these things, right? Like, this is just, you know, Doctor Who doing Doctor Who, and you know, inventing acronyms."
Yeah.
And then we look him up, and then he's like, "Oh no! Like, this whole thing that was at the very center of this whole episode
Yeah.
is the main plot, or like, it's the main plot." But it exists. Like it did exist. It actually existed.
That's great. There's a lot of like class in I love when writers do that where they take inspiration from real life, but then they don't shout it at you. They're not like, oh, the same thing happened here. There's this one line in the Railway series that is very annoying to me from Leaves, where the driver, I think James's driver, they're slipping on the hill, and his driver is like, oh, I've never seen leaves like this before. And then the fireman's like, oh, I have. Southern region. And then he gives like the coordinates. It's like a really weird line. It's like, I remember that place. I worked there. You know. It's like, oh, good for you, Fred. Let's keep going. Like, there's something about it that it lacks some of the nuance that Audrey usually has. Like, I love the line. The one time we ever hear that Gordon was green, he says, when I was young and green. And, you know, and that's a phrase, right? We don't even fully know for sure if he's saying when I was green or when I was young. Like, he's using that phrasing. And, of course, he was green. But if you didn't know that, you could totally just assume that he's using the terminology, that he's just using that phrasing. And I love that subtlety, right? The fact that Audrey, throughout the whole Railway series, made everything... I mean, early days, you know, obviously are finicky, but most of the Railway series is very consistent with what's in People, History, and Railways, and it all works. And when you look at all Gordon's stories, you're like, oh yeah, this guy totally came from the GNR. But like, he never even says Great Northern Railway. He never even says LNER. But it's clear that he did, right? The way that everything's structured. We don't need it explained to us that, you know, he says Doncaster, but he doesn't say LNER. He doesn't say GNR. You know, and Scotsman shows up. And so like there's a lot of, I feel like there should be a bit of narration first that says Gordon was very proud of having come from the GNR, blah, blah. But no, that never happens. Scotsman just shows up and we're meant to connect the dots ourselves. And I love that. Has such subtlety to it. He doesn't even feel the need to explain that part, which is just great.
Right. And it just goes to prove how like the Railway series is as much for rail fans as it is for children.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's like no kid would get that without the necessary kind of background.
Just a
but
moment.
there are a lot of people
Gate?
who would have that background.
Gate. Remember what I told you downstairs. You already know the answer to the questions you are asking, so stop asking them. I told you to stop posting in the chat.
I really feel like we missed like a very interesting confrontation. I wish we'd seen it. I'm very disappointed, I must say.
This finale has bits cut out of it.
Oh my god. I want to see the director's cut of the finale. Can we see that?
Unfortunately, the footage was lost with time.
Oh, and lost with time, huh? Okay, Nixon, I get it.
Meaning time passed and it was no longer there.
Okay, right. Oh my god, you're okay. God, how much?
But yeah,
time-
I told
I
I
said I was
told
going to go in
Kate-
30 minutes. I don't know when that is. I was not looking at the clock. No idea. I'm going to assume it's in like 10 minutes. That's what I'm going to assume.
But yeah, earlier today, I told Gate like, "Hey, no posting in the live chat or whatever." And
Right.
then my mom was like, "Oh, didn't you like it when we were trolling your stream the other night?"
You like it.
And I was like, "Well, if I wanted to like hang out with my family, I'd come downstairs."
That's true. That's kind of a sick burn. My God.
Not to say that I don't like hanging out with my family, but clearly that's not what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty evident. Oh my God. Dear, oh dear. What can the matter be? Johnny so long and nobody mind about Johnny. Don't mind about him.
King Edward VII. That's who we're driving tonight.
That's a very fancy engine name. King Edward the Seventh. Was that the guy who abdicated? King Edward. No, that's Edward the Eighth. Oh, the Seventh was the guy during World War One, wasn't he? Let's see. No, immediately before World War One. Hold on a minute. Edward VII is 7, right?
Yes.
So Edward the Seventh was king of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland and the British Dominions, and Emperor of India from 22nd January 1901 until his death in 1910. The eldest son of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert.
To me, it just feels so weird for there to be a king in, like, within Sodor, within the Northwestern's time. Well, I guess not really Northwestern, but still, just
within the
within the
coffee
1900s.
Yeah, like Edward had existed for 10 years at this point. Like the fact that there's a king, like it's interesting that in general, I just think about there being a queen, but the queen only took power in the 50s, which is just nuts how recent that was.
Shit, yeah.
So,
Hey, I thought that there was a queen during at least the Second World War.
yeah, but no. Yeah, it's interesting because we always think of Churchill when we think of the Second World War. He's kind of the one leading the nation. We don't think about the king in that era. I think it was George the something. George the Sixth, maybe? I can't remember exactly. Successor is George the George the Fifth takes over. Really? So George the Fifth takes over from Edward the Seventh from 1910 to 1936. That's a long. I mean, that's not a long reign compared to Elizabeth, but it's a long reign. So then 1936 is then when Edward the Eighth takes over for like a year and then abdicates, and then George the Sixth. I was right. Yeah, so that's the George the Sixth was the one who led the country through World War II, and then he was replaced by Queen Elizabeth II, who we still have. It's terrifying. I look at like the most recent and best picture they have is this black and white like 40s image of George the Sixth, and then I go forward and see the Queen in high definition in color from like a few days ago. It's like Jesus Christ. Oh my God. She's lived forever.
It's like the royal family has not had a power shift since before the invention of colored photos.
I know, it's insane. Like Jesus Christ. Ugh. and her husband. Like it's crazy that her husband is gone now. I mean, it's gonna shake the world when the queen dies. That's gonna be something. My oh my. Every time I bring this up around James, he's like, he's like, nope, no, I don't want to think about it. There's a list of people that I'm bracing myself for when they die, and he gives this like very short list of very specific people that he's like, no, I'm preparing myself for their death.
I'm surprised, like, just some famous person is on that list. Like, I'd imagine that list would be comprised purely of family members and close friends.
I mean, I think that's a different type of list, though. I'm sure he's got like he's got a few lists, I'm sure, in mind. Oh dear, 10% battery. Look at that. Well, I won't need that rest of that battery, luckily, and also not so luckily because I've got to go to dinner. It's not lucky. It's lucky because I get to spend time with my sister. It's not lucky because I have to depart from Dustin. So I'm being forced to choose between my dearest acquaintances. What word can describe?
Yes, because your sibling is just your acquaintance.
Yeah, we get along. You know, we work together. We you know, she got me that fax the other day, and that's all that matters. Has anyone here ever faxed anything ever?
Nope.
Nope. Me neither. What do you say, audience? Have you faxed? Do you intend to fax? Can you fax right now?
It'll probably take them a bit.
I'm waiting for their answer. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm doing the thing Percy does, not Percy, but whatever his name is in Mad Bomber, where it's like, wow, look at the specs on those cameras. Wow.
The stream caught up to the chat. The chat caught up to the stream. Whatever, you know. There's a delay because internet.
Once, only once, says Tank Engine Fan 12. They say it as if it's like something to be ashamed of. It's like, no, I only did it once, okay? I never did it again. Like, you know.
Isn't his name Noel? Says Redding.
Yeah,
I'm assuming you mean Percy.
I think it's Noel. It's like, I keep hearing in the background, come on, Noel. Like, they say that at least twice. That's all I remember. Oh, my God.
Oh, the speed limit went up. I wish I would have noticed that.
Yeah.
I was just trundling along with my semi-express train at 22 miles an hour.
Yeah. You know what would be really a great story is, you know, on the topic of comparing this engine to Henry. Imagine what, like, Gordon kind of tutoring Henry on what it feels like to have, like, a strong body. Like, imagine, like, after he's rebuilt, right? Henry does not know how to go at high speeds because he's never been able to before. Like, there's a lot of things that Henry can do now that he never could. So he doesn't really know how it works. He doesn't even pay attention to speed limits. He can never max them anyway. Like, that sort of thing. So Gordon has to, like, tutor him. It's like, you know, like, no, slower. It's like, I don't know. I don't know my own strength. Like, whoa, goes right through the station. Gordon's like, God damn it, Henry. You don't have the body of a weakling anymore. He's a lost cause.
It's like me trying to figure out how my body works.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
but I've never used muscle before.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like they're at the gym almost, except he's already got the strength. That would be great. Because it's interesting. Henry is so relatable in so many ways. Anybody who's ever had any sort of condition or medical thing can just relate to Henry. At least I can. Because it's like he has to worry about his body functioning properly. And none of the other engines really do. Like, Thomas, you know, is small, you know, compared to Gordon. And so he feels insecure about that, sure. But it's not like he is actually incapable. He can do all the jobs he needs to do. It's just that he gets made fun of for it. But Henry genuinely struggles to pull himself out of the shed. And, you know, that's like a very human thing. The idea that your body can sometimes you can't rely upon it, and the
Yeah.
fact that he keeps going anyway is just so. I admire Henry, I think, more than I admire any of the other engines, because I think he has suffered the most, he has struggled the most, and he's come out strong anyway, and I think that makes him stronger than Gordon, James, than a lot of the engines, because he's had to go through a lot.
Yeah.
So that's
Hey,
my
look,
Henry appreciation.
we've gotten discussion about Sitapum Hat. We got some discussion about Gordon and Henry. Now we just need Edward, and then we'll complete the anniversary
True.
quadrecta.
Edward. What to say about Edward? Edward is. I think Edward's past is a lot more interesting than we realize. I feel like because he's the smartest engine on the island. I think he's incredibly wise, clever, and very patient. And he has a lot of skills that I want.
I wouldn't call him the most intelligent. He is definitely the wisest.
I don't know. I mean, maybe Diesel would be the most intelligent, which is kind of scary.
Sometimes I think Duck would be the most intelligent, just because he probably has the entire, not just the entire like Great Western Railway handbook memorized, but every rendition of the Great Western Railway memorized.
So that's interesting. So I would say that
since the induction of the Great Western Railway, before he was even built.
Right. Yeah,
and then he probably even has the British Railway handbooks memorized and the Northwestern handbooks memorized.
Yeah, I think Duck
just to be thorough.
Duck is a walking encyclopedia, so I think he's definitely the most knowledgeable on the entire island. But he's not the wisest, and he's not the most intelligent, is what I would say. Like Duck, I find it funny that he's got all that stuff down pat and memorized, and he's just incredibly knowledgeable about everything. And yet he also says, good gracious instead of, whatever Diesel says, right? He's like,
I am convinced he is doing it just to piss Diesel off.
like, I could see that, but honestly, I don't think Duck is super smart. I think he just has a hell of a lot of integrity, and he works really, really, really hard, so he learns a lot. But I don't think he has natural intelligence, really. Like, I think he's smart enough, and he's somewhat clever, but I think mostly what we see is him trying really hard. And also him, the fact that he just has a very strong moral code, and that makes him look, when he makes Gordon, Henry, and James look dumb, because think about what he does that makes them
I just want to bring up how much it bugs me that this coal, like, shimmers as if it's supposed to be a smooth surface that light is reflecting off of.
I know. I relate. But I honestly don't think Duck is super smart. I think Duck is just really knowledgeable and has he has more integrity than anybody else on the island, I would say.
Yes.
Whereas Edward, I think is genuinely very, very intelligent. Like even if he wasn't very knowledgeable, even if he didn't know all that much, I think he just has
he is definitely extremely intelligent. I just wouldn't say he is necessarily the most intelligent.
I think he is.
Like,
I mean, I struggle because the thing is, I don't know who else the engines come to it quite as frequently. Like, I think there's a reason that they look to him for all the wisdom, and the reason he's kind of the last line of defense when they look for
I've always been one to very quickly draw a line between wisdom and intelligence.
That's true.
Because he is the wisest on the island. I would always say that, without a doubt. Why is it? If he's second to anyone, it's Skarloey and Rheneas.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, but I do get the sense that Edward is the brightest as well. The fact that I feel like a lot of his wisdom, a lot of what we perceive as wisdom, because he's not a lot older than a lot of the engines. Donald and Douglas are almost as old as he is. Emily is older than he is. There's a lot of it's not like he's been around forever. Like OJ from Tugs is definitely what he has is all wisdom. It's literally, it's because he's been around a long time. He's learned a lot. And at his age, he would have been no smarter than anybody else. But Edward, I think, considering the fact that, he's very old now, but back in the 3 railway engines time, going back to that, he's only like what 25 years old, something like that. He's not even to the like expiration date of your average steam engine yet, and yet he still is very bright in a lot of ways, I think. And I don't know, I think I do tend to look at Edward like he's just naturally very bright. There's a lot of those moments where he just sees all too well, you know, like in Cows. I love Cows, where, you know, Edward sizes up the situation when Gordon and Henry come back to the sheds, you know, and he can tell that they've encountered a cow. And I don't even know if he hears it necessarily. I feel like he might just be able to tell. Like, I think he could probably just look at their reactions, read their behavior very effectively, and he can just see like what, you know, what has happened. And I think there's a lot of situations like that where Edward is just, you know, maybe not necessarily the most intelligent, but maybe the best at projecting, the best at kind of looking at a situation and figuring out why everybody is acting the way that they are and where they're coming from. He's very good at kind of putting the pieces together and connecting the dots, and most people aren't quite as good at that as he is. Like another example is like in A Close Shave. I love how he's smiling when Duck shows up in tears. Like, he should be really concerned, right? He should be like, I've got to stop this poor engine from being sent away from the railway. But he's not. He's not concerned in the slightest, because he knows the Fat Controller will figure out what's wrong. He has no doubt. He's projected 10 steps ahead. He knows exactly what's going to happen. He knows Diesel's in the wrong, and he knows he's going to be sent away. And you have to be incredibly bright to see that far ahead when nobody else, even the Fat Controller, realizes what his next move is going to be. But Edward does. And, you know, I think that, you know, that's something that I find to be very impressive about him, is his ability to forecast. So maybe not necessarily general intelligence, but his ability to predict is very, very good.
Yeah, he never took me as like the smarts guy. Like, when I think of intelligence, I think of just knowledge, you know.
Yeah, and I don't. See, you draw a distinction between wisdom and intelligence. I draw a huge distinction between knowledge and intelligence, because you can be dumb as bricks and still learn a lot of things and retain a lot of information, right? You know, and I feel like Duck gives off it's kind of like when somebody knows a bunch of big words and so they sound smart when really they can't form ideas on their own. Intelligence is the ability to extrapolate and the ability.
I like sorta feel called out there.
Do you use a lot of big words? It's if you feel called out, Dustin, then that is your prerogative. But
I did say sorta called out. Like, I don't think I am necessarily that bad, but like it's
slightly called out.
Yeah.
I feel 30% called out. Oh my god. But that's the thing, though, is that, like, you know, I feel like intelligence is something that's innate within a person. It is their natural tendency. And I think that intelligence isn't something, I don't think we should celebrate intelligence, we should celebrate knowledge, right? So that's why I respect Duck more than I respect Edward, because I adore Edward. I think he's a really good person with good intentions, but I think something that could be explored is I also think he's just a little bit arrogant, not in the way that Gordon or James or Henry are, but in the sense that he'd never say this, but I think he thinks that he knows better than everybody else and that he is the wisest, and he's aware of that, and he makes decisions with that in mind. So, like, you know, he kind of
the Superman complex.
Exactly, right? The fact that he's very skilled in this area, he's very, very bright, and so therefore he does it for the good of everybody when he predicts things, when he kind of gives everybody wisdom and advice, but now and then he can be a little bit condescending to the big engines and just in general. And I feel like, you know, he's justified in that because he's one of the best hearts on the island. But I do think that, you know, he thinks a little bit too highly of his own intelligence. Now, he doesn't ever show that, right? And he also doesn't ever use that thought to project himself, right? He never uses that to say, look how great I am. It's never that. It's, look, everyone, you are really starting to frustrate me. Gordon's upside down in the ditch. Henry's cramped in the tunnel. I know better. Just listen to me, please. You know, but like that's the situation he's in, right? You know, it's like he's like, no, just listen to me. It'll be easier if
my guide thinks here. And he wouldn't say those words, but like he'd say it in a more eloquent fashion, which would kind of equate to that, which would be like, look, we all kind of know that I know best, right? And he's kind of right, because he does kind of have the most, wisdom out of everybody. But I feel like that would get on the engine's nerves.
Hey, let me. I don't know if the stream is hearing this, but you're becoming very distorted. Yeah. All right. I'm pretty sure his phone just died. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I'm pretty sure his phone was dying. That's. So yeah, you guys did hear that. But yeah, this has happened a few times. There he is.
Pardon me, Dustin. I was assassinated. My phone was losing power, and that's what it does when it is about.
Yeah, I figured that out. Like as soon as you reached for your phone, I was like, yes, it's become that point.
Right. But unfortunately, I should probably get a move on anyhow. I could talk about Edward all day long. But I think I've got to go to dinner. But this
right.
is an absolute blast, as always.
Yeah, it's been nice having you on, as always. So thanks for coming on tonight.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So hopefully you can come on to a future stream. Maybe not the after class stream because we're not going to be having those for a while.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm always interested, Dustin. I mean, sometimes I totally forget that it's happening and then it's over. But, as long as I'm aware of it and have time, I will always enjoy these. Not these specifically, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so I got to get moving. But this has been a blast. So talk to you soon.
Yep. Talk to you soon too. Bye, Lemmy.
Right. Take care, Dustin.
Yep. All right, peoples. Now it's just me. All right. So now we have a train, and we're going places with this train. Though we're also getting to the point where I have to go and pee. I never got to tell him about how Sir Handel and George face off in giant robots. All right. Here we are at our second station. Yeah, that's how numbers work. How many more station stops we got? We got 5. We got 4 because it's counting our start point. So we gotta stop at Gwynair Road, Camborne, Rudith, and then we finish it off at Churro. Oh, hey. The train got a signal and it wasn't us. Oh, now we got a signal. Will you stop jumping? Like, oh, hey. Lucky. These. What the hell? Freightliner didn't exist yet. Look at this. I better pause so that. Yeah, look, they have. It's the time travel train. But yeah, they have Freightliner wagons. With is that a mini toad? Is that what I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna call it a mini toad. We got a mini toad, with Freightliner wagons that aren't even done properly. Like that's proper, buffer to buffer. Yeah, that's right. No. No. Oh, that's done right. It's the non-buffer to non-buffer. No. Oh, no. You didn't. Yeah, that's good. That's good. No. No. Logic. Oh, where's Shockwave when you need him? It is not logical. It does not logic. Wait, it's Thurmond in disguise all over again. No, we didn't have too many anachronisms with Thurmond. Now in Hinton we had an anachronism. We had a diesel shunter that wasn't supposed to exist. So yeah. But yeah, I mentioned yeah, so I mentioned plans for stop motion reviews. And that's one of the main reasons I probably won't be doing streams this summer much, if not at all, is because stop motion eats up a lot of time. The Rainmakers, they are all repaints of this figure. Well, really, this figure is a repaint of the figure that they are also repaints of. But this is Hot Link. He's one of the Seekers. He actually came with two little dudes who turned into flamethrowers. Yeah, just a preview at what's to come. I really like this guy. He's a really neat mold. Kind of a Cybertronian version of Starscream. And yes, Starscream is a Cybertronian. What I mean by Cybertronian version of Starscream is kind of the shape that he would take on while on Cybertron. Before he came to Earth. So I know too many people aren't too into the whole Transformers thing, but I really want to do more Transformers content on the channel. So, because I love Transformers. So yeah, I really like this guy. And, you know, his guns are great because they don't need to be the arm mounted null rays. Let's see. I have my brother got the Starscream version of this mold. Now he broke the whole backpack apparatus off, but these were the guns that came with it, and they're just nice generic. They're just nice generic rifles that I really like. But they kind of fit with just about anyone. Don't mean to be rude, but I haven't seen a single piece of Transformers media. I get it. The only like the only stuff that's in like wider media is the movies, and the movies are shit. If you want to that makes it seem like as if he has to make these reviews. Gate, I said, leave me alone. Great. I should have never shown the weapons on camera. But anyway. Where was I? Brain. My brain has stopped working. Yes. Transformers and good media. If you ever want to look into Transformers, look into IDW Comics. Their run on Transformers. Specifically, I would recommend More Than Meets the Eye and the sequel series Lost Light. It is the best Transformers comics has to offer. Really, it's just the best Transformers media has to offer. If you want to look into a show, I'd say Transformers Prime. Because Transformers Prime is just the best Transformers TV show. It's I'd put it on par with Clone Wars as far as tone. Where it's it might technically be a kids TV show, but it is definitely aimed towards the older fans. So yeah. Transformers has a lot of great potential, and they don't utilize it. But yeah. Oh, doop-de-doop-de-doo. You know that Kool-Aid Man had a comic book series that was licensed by Marvel. Technically, that means Kool-Aid Man could be in future Marvel movies. Well, by that logic, the Transformers could be in future Marvel movies because the original Transformers comics were produced by Marvel. That would be awesome if Marvel could use the Transformers. That'd be cool. I think it would be. Like, just imagine, Optimus Prime shows up, and then he, like, grabs Thor's hammer. And then someone might say it's too small for him. Well, one, it's magic. Two, Ant-Man exists. So what were those even like, though? Oh, the Transformer comic or the Thomas comic? Because I don't know about the Thomas comics, but the Transformer Marvel comics were pretty good. You know, they were definitely 80s, 90s comics, but they were really good for the time. There a lot happened in those 80 some issues. Thomas comic. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know shit about the Thomas comics. That's all the Transformers do in the movies. It has no lasting impact. It's like 5 seconds, the Transformer. See, that's the thing. The Transformers in the movies aren't characters. The Transformers in the movies are action set pieces. There's also the fact that Michael Bay shoots his movies before they write the script. And then they write the script to connect the scenes that he films. That's not like... I feel like if you put Michael Bay in charge of the action and then competent people in charge of literally everything else, you'd have a really good Transformers movie. Because Bumblebee was excellent. You know what? No, don't put Michael Bay in charge of a Transformers movie. Because in Bumblebee, I could actually tell what was going on. I could tell what was happening when Bumblebee was fighting Shatter and Dropkick. So, yeah, I think they need to put actual competent people in charge of the Transformers movies. The Transformers need to be the emotional center of the movie. CGI has progressed a long way. We've gotten to the point where people can emotionally connect to a CGI thing. So yeah, Transformers does have a lot of potential because think of it. So think of all of the genres that Transformers can tick. I shouldn't say all the genres necessarily. Yes, but like there's lots of things that Transformers can do. Like you can have your epic space battles, like the Cybertronians command giant space fleets. So you can have these these space battles, or you can have like your classic military, like on boots on the ground, fighting from the trenches, sort of things. You have your spies and espionage stuff. I hate to tell you, but Toy Story did that in the 90s, way before Advance. Okay, yes. Toy Story was very good for its time. Is still very good. It's just now. I think back then, specifically in the live action area, as far as like when the Transformers movies were coming out regularly, there was this stigma attached to them that, you know, a human could never, that a real person could never gain an emotional connection to Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. That they had to have a human character like Sam Witwicky or Cade Yeager to get a connection to. However, that's just not true. You know, people can connect to Optimus Prime. You know, it's been proven through through Marvel, especially. Infinity War is proof that you can have a live action CGI character and people can emotionally resonate with that character. So yeah, Transformers have a lot of potential because you have like your military trench battles, you have your space battles, you have your spies and your espionage. There's time travel, there's dimension hopping, there's you know, the Transformers are kind of like superheroes, you know, so you have your superhero stuff. There's all this stuff with their creator, Primus. So there's just a whole bunch of things that the Transformers can do, and a whole lot of things you can do with the Transformers story-wise and setup-wise. You know, there are bounty hunters, there are pirates, there are tons of different sub-fractions. Oh, okay, misunderstanding. Yeah, though I did forget about Toy Story. But I do know that I do know that part of the reason they put the human characters in there was to give the audience a human to connect to. And I'm just telling, it's not necessary, you know. We have proof that we don't need a human to connect to, and you know, Toy Story is also proof of that. But if you want live action proof, you know, we have that now too. But yeah, I feel like Transformers has a lot of potential that no one is using, not even Hasbro, with their stuff. You know, I think Transformers Prime might have utilized it the best. Transformers Prime and IDW Comics. Transformers Prime told a nice, like, little found family story. A found family who is also like a small rebellion up against, you know, a much larger military force. IDW did acknowledge all of the different kinds of things that the Transformers could do. IDW also highlighted the I think the human stigma mainly comes from live action CGI films, not strictly CGI. Yes, I agree with that. Darn it, I lost my thought entirely. Yes, IDW really highlighted the political strife that sparked the Cybertronian War. People overlook how political Transformers could be. It would be really easy to tell stories that are relevant to modern time with Transformers in relation to political oppression and through class and all that. But Hasbro isn't interested in that. Hasbro isn't interested in getting someone to write competent and good stories. They just want to sell their toys. It's a shame that IDW Comics and Transformers Prime have to be the exceptions and can't be the rule. So I should also point out that Animated and Beast Wars are also two very good Transformers shows. My mind is so stuck in 2016 that when you said political, I thought build a wall. Yeah. So glad he's no longer the president. I feel so much safer. But yeah. So I just want to do more stuff with Transformers, basically. But that being said, let's see. We have 2 more stops, and then I said we were going to do 3. I think we're going to quit it after this one. So, yeah, we're just going to finish. We're going to finish this run, and then we're going to call it a night. Do 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 do. I should. I want to check what class is this guy. JWR King over the okay. Doesn't really say the class, just says that its name is King Edward. Wait a minute. What is this? What industry is this? Oh, that's the coal. Okay. At least I think it's a coal place. It has a lot of non-coal piles to me. Yep. North Crofty Coal Mine. I didn't realize we passed the junction. But we did. We did. We've talked about Stepney, Henry, Thomas, Diesel being a dictator, even Transformers. It's been a night. Yes, it has. Oh, fuck. I did not realize that I was speeding. It's okay. No cops were nearby, so it's legal. That's why I didn't quit the session. Yeah, Lemmy left. He had to go. Do. 460. Be-do-be-do. I should probably go slower since the 30 is coming up. There we go. But yeah, really hope to do more with Transformers. I've been industrializing the island more and more. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how those industries will communicate with each other. Trying to figure out how they actually work. So that's going to be fun. Well, Redding, how is he supposed to learn it? The live chat doesn't, you can't rewatch the live chat. I mean, he can rewatch the stream, but I don't always read the Pasta Noodle Railway lore. I don't always read it out loud. So yeah, when he rewatches the stream, the live chat won't be there with it. And if I don't read it, he won't know it. But yeah, Super Mario Universe 37, he is joking. In case you didn't realize that. Okay, the live chat is always there? I didn't think the live chat replayed. I swore you couldn't replay the live chat. Learn something new every day, I guess. Yeah, I did not know that. Never mind. One can become the master of memorizing pasta noodle railway lore. That doesn't mean you have to. Anyways, I have acquired a new ultra rare 2003 wooden railway Thomas, the rarest item ever. Yes. By that logic, I also own an ultra rare item. That being 2003 Thomas. Wooden railway Thomas, that is. All right, train, hurry up and get to churro so I can end the stream and be a happy man. Yeah, the Super Mario Universe 37. I'm pretty sure he's being sarcastic. Facetious. A joke. All right, I'm gonna go to bed because gotta wake up at 5 a.m. for school. It's been fun. What a way to go. Good night and take care. All right. Good night, Malambeek. Well, I should probably say things. So, what should I say? I really like this toy. I said that already. So you kind of have an idea of how the Rainmaker 3-pack is going to go. Because the Rainmaker 3-pack is essentially this toy in 3 different colors. I have like 2 Tomy Diesels and 2 Trackmaster Diesels. I am the paragon of equality. I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing into a jet, or the Cybertronian equivalent. I'm going to try and do it on camera, while also not looking at the camera. Well, not that I won't look at the camera, but that I won't look at what the camera sees. I'm also going to try and stay within the speed limit on my game while doing it. But yeah. As far as industrializing Sodar, right now I'm figuring out things for like once I bought a 25th anniversary of Conan. Conan O'Brien Funko Pop for 23 expecting. Mm-hmm. So yeah, right now, I'm kind of going through industry to industry and then figuring out how it would communicate with other industries, like the flour mill. I'm gonna put a flour mill on Sodar. One thing that I need to decide though is what type of flour mill it would be, because I could make it a. There are a few options. I could make it water powered, as in water wheel, which feels Thomasy, feels the most Thomasy. Though I could also make it coal. Well, I could make it steam powered, so coal and water. It would need deliveries of coal. I can make it oil powered, so it would need an oil delivery. Or I could make it electric. I feel like I'm not going to make it electric. Because that's just that it's not modern and it's not it's not like it's not Thomasy, and it doesn't provide anything to operations. Is there a turntable on Tallyland? Because that would explain why Sir Hayden's cab was modified to have open ends on each side. I don't know. I do not know. Though I'm pretty sure there's technically a turntable on the Skarloey Railway too. Why are you not clipping together? Why are you not clipping together the way you're supposed to clip together? The Chorus Railway had 3 Falcons Works engines. I like how Dustin's so meticulous about this. And then I go to Thomas Wooden Railway's channel, and he's just like, I put stuff where I like it. I have 2 styles, but it's still funny to me. Weird. Yeah, I mean, because there's also the fact that I'm not like I'm trying to map out Sodor. Like, you know, I'm trying to map a consistent version of Sodor. You know, I'm not necessarily that same way when layout building, as far as a classic wooden railway layout. Though I can be. So yeah, it just kind of depends on what mood I'm in. Come on. There we go. Hotlink in his Cybertronian jet mode. Oh. Look at the blue engine. It's a blue engine. King Edward II. I'm guessing these are a king class. I mean, it feels obvious. Oh gosh, broken coaches. Dear Lord. We have a broken coach. Oh. These coaches are fine. It's just that. Oh, no, we have another broken coach. And then we have 2 fine coaches. Okay. We're going to get away from that King Edward. But yeah. I kind of mentioned last week that I've been making this Transformers encyclopedia that I'm still building upon. But yeah, the idea of it is just because what I want to do is I kind of want to lay out all of the big events that happen in Transformers and just build a comic book universe, but with Transformers. You know, something that feels like Marvel or DC or something. And then have Transformers crossover with Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, maybe a few other things. I enjoyed Godzilla versus Kong. I might throw the MonsterVerse in there. Maybe some other franchises. Mortal Kombat. I don't know. Fictions. I could put in literally anything. Oh fuck. All right. We should be approaching Churro soon. And that means the end of the stream. The only tunnel on the whole route. Oh shit. The end is upon us, folks. Get your popcorn here. T-Rail. Blow up. I like how in the first stream I joined really late and didn't talk until the end. And now I'm one of the most active members. Like, it's been fun. Very anticlimactic. I hate my internet. It's been real swell. Yes, it has. Ah, okay. I'm waiting for it to... There we go. I lost a star for all those times I was speeding. And now we've come to the end of our story. Just like Thomas. Okay. Too bad we can't end on a high note, like Lemmy screaming or something. I don't know, because I think this is a nice note to end on. Now we must all fuck off, just like Sir Handel. So yeah, it's been nice having y'all here. Thanks for joining me for the most part every week. But yeah, it's been fun. Here, let me. Here, there we go. We don't need that chat anymore. So yeah, it's been fun having y'all. I'll see ya the next time. I don't know when that'll be. I'll definitely the after class stream will return, just not for the summer. We will have different things going on during the summer. So yeah, see y'all. It's been fun. Thank you for joining me. Bye.